I don't worry about what they think about size because they don't know what I walk around at. I'm not gonna go in and spread that to anybody. Just know that I'll be prepared. The hand is good. I feel good. I'm ready to fight, and that's all that matters.
Watching you the way that I do, I think your IQ is severely underestimated. You're smart as hell. Obviously, you're a damn good defensive fighter.
I gotta win. I understand the knockout can come, and I understand, but I want to win. I want to convincingly win this fight, not just win the fight.
What you just witnessed wasn't just a win, it was a takeover. Sebastian Fundora didn't edge past Keith Thurman. He broke him down, round by round, until there was nothing left to figure out. This wasn't competitive. This was a clear message to the entire division. There's a new problem in boxing, and his name is Fundora. Before the fight, comparisons were already being made, but now they hit different. When you stack Fundora's performance next to fights like Brian Mendoza, one thing becomes...
My abilities is a little bit better than Mendoza. A lot bit better than Mendoza.
Mendoza hit him with that.
He did.
However, he argued Fundora coming off a good win could be a somewhat problem, so he must be at his best.
I gotta be a little bit more patient then and let everything just flow. Instead of just going in there and making uneducated decisions or moves, I have to really step around, move my body correctly and finesse this. I'm real athletic.
It's obvious. This version of Fundora is operating on a completely different level. And if that's the case, the warning signs for future opponents just...
He lost before already.
Well, I know, but he sort of made some adjustments and come back as a bit more of a killer. I should phrase it, is Fundora beatable these days?
All fighters is beatable. It just take the right special type of fighter to exploit it.
Showbiz the Adult also labeled the fight with Jermell as a real test for Sebastian Fundora.
I think if he gets a tune-up, I think with what he possesses, his height, right, is better than a lot of these guys. Fast, good speed, great power, and a fantastic jab and good athleticism, high IQ, and the experience of an undisputed fight. I think Charlo would be trouble for Fundora. I do.
Even elite minds in boxing are starting to lean in. Terence Crawford believes Fundora can be beaten, but only if everything is executed perfectly.
My estimation, 154 is gone for us, for Jermell Charlo. But should he happen to do that and have a comeback fight or two before getting in the ring with Sebastian Fundora, it's a decent fight for him if he's doing the right things. I think that straight right hand, that brick hand that he has, it has to go to the chest, it has to go to the pit, and then it has to work his way up from there. It's got to be consistent.
That's a big if, because what we're seeing now is a fighter who's not just improving, he's evolving into a serious tactical threat. Not everyone is sold against him, though. Sean Porter.
Big fight, bro. That's a big fight for both of them. And, 154 is still Charlo division. Nobody ever beat him in that division. Yeah. So he's still laying claim to be the undisputed champion. So until somebody beat Charlo, they really ain't did nothing in that 154-pound division. For real, you feel me?
Sees it differently. He believes Fundora's physical advantages could be the deciding factor in any matchup. And if that's true, anyone stepping in the ring with him better be...
If he fights somebody that's heavy-handed like a Charlo, that's the only person I can think of right now at 154. That would be a good fight because they were supposed to fight at some point. I saw the news about them fighting. It never happened. It never came to fruition. But if Charlo catch him with one of the best jabs in the business, he get that respect, it's going to be a different ballgame. And Charlo had no problem making it ugly and fighting on the inside.
Ready for a long, exhausting night. Antonio Tarver isn't hesitating. He's backing Fundora all the way. In his eyes, Fundora...
Both good fighters, man. So I don't know what to say about that. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say. Who win? I call it a 50-50.
Fundora has the tools, the size, and the pressure to overwhelm fighters who can't handle constant aggression. And right now, very few can. Then there's Chad Johnson, who cuts straight to the core. Styles make fights. And when you look at Fundora's awkward frame,
he has gotten better at fighting tall, fighting long, and still being aggressive. You know how hard that is to do? To be aggressive when you're tall and you're long and still maintain the advantage of being tall and long, Think about what I just said now. Because I know no one out there has pointed this out. Nobody. He fights aggressively. I mean aggressively. That's one of his greatest trademarks, one of his greatest weapons and dimensions. He wears you down.
Pace and unorthodox angles, it's easy to see why this matchup becomes dangerous for anyone across from him. Some are staying neutral. Boots Ennis, for example, isn't picking sides. He sees it as a...
He had the right idea, but it wasn't being executed. The idea was to move, use his athleticism, you know, move side to side, keep Fundora moving his feet, switching his stances, and then get in, jump in, move in, close in real quick and attack when Fundora wasn't ready to punch. It looked like that was the only strategy that made sense. It looked like his people at least had him prepared for a strategy.
A balanced fight between two capable fighters. But even that says something, because it acknowledges just how real the threat of Fundora has become. After the Thurman fight, Teddy Atlas made one thing crystal clear. Fundora finally understands how to use his size. And when that clicks for a fighter like him, it turns...
I was embarrassed, hey, Uncle Joe, I was embarrassed. Listen, obviously, when you go into a fight, especially at this level, when it's the best in the game, obviously Fundora only lost one fight to Mendoza, but you go in with a game plan. You feel each other out the first few rounds.
Yeah.
You figure out what you want to do next. When it came to Keith Thurman, whatever he had planned and dancing around, knowing you on 37-year-old legs, understanding that's not gonna last you. That's only gonna last you so long.
Atlas also gave Thurman respect for stepping into danger. But respect doesn't win fights. And the truth is, Fundora's relentless pressure never gave Thurman a chance to settle in or execute any real plan. Others weren't as generous. Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson didn't hold back.
Reach 11 inches. Crazy. So he can start up and set up shop far away, out at distance. And then when he move in position, you can't even hit him. So when Keith was trying to move to his left, because I told his ass, move to your left, bro, move to your left. He cut that damn angle off. All he did was scoot his little...
They criticized Thurman heavily, saying he looked unprepared, outmatched, and completely without answers. Tim Bradley echoed that frustration. He pointed out that beating a fighter with Fundora's size requires precision.
But you wasn't even in the fight, Keith. You was getting your ass blown out, bro. So, and then your face looked like you had a whole bunch of pepperonis all over that motherfucker. Bro, the referee was like, man, let me save you, man, because, your wife gonna look at you different. You go back home with all them pepperonis all over you, she gonna look at you different. That's it. So, referee saved you, man, because you was gonna be a meme, a highlight reel, ESPN. Yeah, you was gonna be a meme because he was gonna body your ass, bro. For real, he was gonna put your in the damn dirt. Straight up.
And strategy. Thurman had neither, and against someone like Fundora, that's a losing formula. Bradley went even further, saying the stoppage came at the perfect time. Because if that fight had continued, it could have ended far worse. Fundora wasn't slowing down, and he wasn't showing mercy.
The guy's 6'5", 6'6", and Thurman was always a bouncy guy. He jumps, he leaps in explosively, jumps out, jumps in. 37, he's gonna be less explosive, and he's never shown that he was a head movement type. So when I saw the fight, I wasn't shocked, but then of course I did. My head did go back to Tim, knowing that I was coming here for this fight, and I thought to myself, you know what? Tim doesn't look so bad anymore. Like people maybe could cut Tim some slack a little bit because even in the rematch Fundora, even in the adjusted Fundora, Tim, when he made his last stand before the fight got stopped, he was landing some good punches. He was throwing some good punches.
Paulie Malignaggi wasn't surprised at all. In fact, he expected this outcome. To him, the gap between the two fighters was always too wide, and it showed. Even Sean Porter admitted he expected more from Thurman. He thought Thurman would at least create problems, but instead, he was outclassed in...
Didn't match that jab. He didn't match the energy that Sebastian was coming with, and you have to match his energy and make him feel like I can't just work with this broomstick. I can't just walk you down. I gotta figure out a way to get to you. And Keith never forced him to figure out anything else.
Still, some analysts were shocked by just how dominant it was. Fundora didn't just win, he controlled everything. From distance to pressure, from timing to pace. It was a complete performance. And that's the scary part, because according to many, Fundora is just entering his prime. He's improving fast, and each fight looks better than the last. Antonio Tarver
He exceeded expectations. He did what he was supposed to do and stopped Keith Thurman, right? But the fashion in which he stopped him, some of the improvements he's shown, our guy Hafey talked to Fundora afterwards, and he kept talking about his overhand left. He's calling it overhand. I'll call it a sweeping left hand.
It was a sweeping left hand.
That punch, I think, like the rest of his arsenal,
it's just because he's saying it's overhand. So
right, he's the one throwing it.
Yeah.
Called it a version of Fundora we've never seen before. Stronger, sharper, more aggressive, and far more dangerous. Jose Benavidez Sr. expected a close fight, but walked away convinced the better man won. And
since Mendoza, he has made great adjustments. All right, fight from the outside, sticking with the jab out there. He still will whoop you on the inside. I mean, he'll put you in that meat grinder once you try to fight him on the inside. Fundora has outside and inside game, and he's way more responsible than he's been.
Not just by a little, by a clear margin. Winky Wright raised a different question. What happened to Thurman? Because based on his past, this performance didn't match the fighter people remember. Fernando Vargas Sr. gave Thurman credit for trying. But he also made it clear, sometimes effort isn't enough, especially against a challenge like Fundora.
Man, I was heartbroken for my boy Keith, bro. But Fundora, it looked like he's experienced. He's gained a lot more experience. He's learning how to use his reach and height a lot more, much more effective. So he's going to be a nightmare for anybody right now. I think he's really found his groove right now.
So do you feel like he's the top guy at 154 pounds?
Most definitely.
Even Fernando Vargas Jr. praised Thurman's heart. But his biggest takeaway, Fundora is on track to become one of the best fighters in the sport if this growth continues. Not everyone agrees with everything though. Some critics are questioning whether Fundora even belongs in this weight class.
I thought Keith was going to give him a little bit of trouble, you know, and take him to deep waters and test him a little bit. But, you know, when Fundora threw the right hand the first time, he kind of got him. And, you know, that's when like, oh, man, you know, Fundora, I think it's too much for him. Fundora looked really good. He used his distance and body shots and straight punches and everything. I think, in my opinion, he looked really good. And Keith Thurman, you know, he tried. And it was a great stoppage, in my opinion. You know, it's good. You know, when they stopped the fight and I saw his face, I was like, damn, you know, it was pretty.
Arguing his size gives him an unfair edge. Richard Torres Jr. backed that idea, saying the skill gap wasn't huge, but the size difference made all the impact. Roy Jones Jr. took it even further, calling Fundora the most dominant.
6'6", 80-inch reach. It's tough to fight somebody like that, you know, and Keith been on for a while, and it's just like no excuse. Fundora came in and did what he had to do. Keith could have did a few little things, but all that movement, I think, kind of wore his legs out, and that took away the power. And then, you know, eventually he just slowed down and just kept it. They shouldn't have stopped it right there, but you know, Keith wasn't scoring the way he wanted to score. But I just don't like the way they stopped it like that.
Fighter in the division right now. That's a bold claim, but after this performance, it's hard to ignore. Even outside voices are chiming in, saying this was never Thurman's fight to win. And if Fundora keeps this up, the rest of the division is in serious trouble. Caleb Plant highlighted something important.
Fundora's just a specimen, man. He's like, you know, so hard to fight. You know what I mean? It's like, man, he's like, what, 6 feet something? It's ridiculous. And so I think that, man, I mean, Keith, you know, did what he needed to do. He tried to do what he could do. It wasn't enough, but you know what? My hat's off to both of them.
Important. Fundora's comeback after the Mendoza loss. Not many fighters bounce back like that. But he did, and in a big way. Others are focusing on the details. His angles, his power, his timing. It's not just size. It's skill meeting execution at the highest.
It was a lot of punches. Keith would have went out in his shield. I think that was the right thing to do because he's a warrior. If he really wanted to, when you know they stopped it a little bit for a little bit, he could have like, you know, called it quits. But I take my hat out to Fundora. He's a great fighter.
And now we've arrived at the real conversation. With the boxing world watching closely, one matchup stands above the rest: Fundora versus Jermell Charlo. So what happens next? Does Fundora keep rolling through elite competition? Or does Charlo finally—
Man, that dude need to be 86 for the division. He way too tall. I'm sorry, they need to calibrate them scales. I don't know how he making them weight classes. It is not fair.
Too cold.
It is not fair.
So he needs to learn to use it.
It is, forget about, it is not fair for him to be in that weight class.
Would you pick them against the 154? So is that what you're saying? Like,
it is not fair for him to be in that weight class. They need to calibrate them scales. We don't know how he makes that weight, all stuff. There is some kind of trickery going on in boxing that nobody—
You know what's actually insane about Khamzat Chimaev? In that one single minute, he gets to catch his breath between rounds. His mind is already locked and loaded, ready to explode back into the octagon like a damn missile. Joe Rogan
It was incredible. It was a really great showing from him, and I'm just excited to see what's next from him. I'm a fan, you know? And it's weird because like you see it on TV, but you don't get like the awe until you're in person of like that size discrepancy was— I don't know when I've seen it like that again, you know? Like 6'6" versus what was he, 5'8", 5'6"? It was almost a foot of just height, and then the length and everything. That guy's dangerous, man.
Just dropped a nuclear take on the Joe Rogan Experience, boldly predicting that Khamzat is going to absolutely kill Sean Strickland at UFC 328. And the MMA world is still losing its mind over it. But let's be real.
The fashion in which he just defeated Keith Thurman.
The towering Inferno is still the towering Inferno. He's a problem. 6'6", 154. He's a problem for anybody.
For a second, when Rogan says kill, he's not talking about anything outside the sport. He's talking about a level of total, soul-crushing dominance that makes you wonder if the two guys are even fighting in the same weight class. This breakdown gives us a raw, unfiltered look into Khamzat's terrifying—
He's a great fighter. I always seen him fight on TV. Super impressed seeing him fight in real life, bro. Dude, he's really the truth.
Man, yeah. There's anyone out there at 154 that can handle that height?
We'll see. That height is crazy. I'm a tall dude, too. He's got really good defense. He knows how to use his style, man. Like, won't be hurt.
skill set, his savage approach, and the real vulnerabilities that could either make Rogan's prediction come true or blow up in his face against a tough, high-volume striker like Strickland. At the end of the day, this whole fight boils down to one thing: cardio.
Yeah, Fundora did great. He had a great game plan. He implemented it. He got good coaching. He's got a great chin, great gas tank. It's a great fight, man.
Is there anything that surprised you about the fight, or you felt like you could have done it a little bit better?
No. Yeah, I think it's just it's a hard person to solve.
And Joe Rogan made that crystal clear. Khamzat Chimaev didn't just pick up grappling as an adult. This guy started judo at 5 years old and moved into serious wrestling by 12. That's not a hobby, that's a lifetime of building the kind of suffocating, controlling game that can end fights before they even get started.
His range, but he looked slow. He looked pretty slow, but I seen him start to throw a real slow jab, then he throw a fast jab. So I think when he started putting more jabs on him and woke up a little bit, that's when he started to do better. But his jab, I like to see him show a little bit more speed, but I don't know at them dimensions. Can he put? He's there a little better.
What do you think about his level of accuracy tonight?
Yeah, good. Something message to him right away. Something with him. We'll mess with him right away when he hit him with straight left, right? First round?
Yep, right away.
Yeah,
immediately, within like 10 seconds.
Yeah. So, I mean, man, hey, that boy's the towering Inferno.
Sure, fans lose their minds over his explosive knockouts and viral finishes, but it's that deep, elite grappling base that could be the ultimate weapon against Sean Strickland. Strickland's takedown defense has gotten better over the years, no question. But he has never faced a relentless, high-level grappler with the raw power and technical mastery that Khamzat brings. That foundation gives the Chechen Wolf a clear backup plan. Even if the striking isn't landing, he can always take the fight where he wants it. We all know Sean Strickland is built different. The guy has a chin made of solid granite and a will that just refuses to break. You saw it in those Yoel Romero wars. The man is durable as hell. But if Khamzat really wants to deliver the kind of kill Rogan is predicting, He's going to need that same non-stop, soul-crushing pressure we saw from Dricus du Plessis when he broke Robert Whittaker. Strickland thrives in long, ugly wars where he can drown you in volume and break you mentally. For Khamzat to dominate the way Rogan envisions, he's going to need elite cardio and unbreakable mental fortitude.